Summary book. Predictably Irrational, The Hidden Forces That Shape Our Decisions. In Predictably Irrational, Dan Ariely, a behavioral economist, challenges the traditional assumption that humans are rational decision-makers. He argues that our choices are often shaped by hidden forces that lead us to make irrational decisions in predictable ways. Through a series of experiments, Ariely explores how cognitive biases, emotions, social norms, and other psychological factors influence our behavior. Chapter 1: The Truth About Relativity. Ariely introduces the concept of relativity, showing that people don't evaluate options in isolation but in comparison to others. Our decisions are often influenced by what we consider the reference point. For instance, when asked to choose between a cheap and expensive option, we are more likely to choose the middle ground option when presented with a third, even more expensive alternative. Anchoring effect. Key takeaways: people often make choices based on relative comparisons, not absolute values. This can lead to irrational decisions because our perception is shaped by surrounding options rather than objective needs or desires. Chapter 2: The Fallacy of Supply and Demand. Ariely discusses how prices are not always determined by actual demand but by psychological factors. He uses the example of the decoy effect, where the presence of a third option, a decoy, can manipulate people's preferences. People tend to choose the option that is framed as best value, even if it's not objectively the best. Key takeaways: people's choices are highly influenced by the way options are framed. The introduction of a decoy can make a product seem more valuable, even though it's not. Chapter 3: The Cost of Zero Cost. The idea that free is an overwhelmingly attractive option is explored here. Ariely shows that people are willing to make irrational choices just because something is free. For example, people are more likely to choose a free option, even when they end up with less value overall. Key takeaways: free is a powerful motivator, often leading us to make irrational choices that don't serve our best interests. Even when the free option leads to worse outcomes, the allure of Northwest cost can drive people to irrational behavior. Chapter 4: The Cost of Social Norms. Ariely contrasts social norms behavior driven by community expectations with market norms behavior driven by monetary incentives. He demonstrates that when people are motivated by social norms, they act more generously, but when market norms dominate, people become more transactional and less cooperative. Introducing money into a relationship that was previously driven by social norms can erode goodwill and cooperation. Key takeaways: social norms can encourage cooperation and generosity, while market norms can lead to transactional behavior. Introducing monetary incentives into social settings can diminish the natural goodwill people feel toward each other. Chapter 5: The Influence of Arousal. This chapter explores how emotions, particularly heightened arousal e.g., lust, anger, excitement, can skew decision-making. When people are in a heightened emotional state, they often make irrational decisions, overestimate rewards, or fail to consider the consequences. Key takeaways: emotions can dramatically impact decision-making, often leading people to make choices that they would not have made in a calmer state. Understanding this influence can help in making more rational decisions, especially in high-stakes situations. Chapter 6: The Problem of Procrastination and Self-Control. Ariely delves into the issue of procrastination and how people often fail to take immediate action on tasks that are important. He discusses the concept of hyperbolic discounting, the tendency for people to overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue future ones, leading to procrastination. Key takeaways: people tend to overvalue immediate gratification at the expense of long-term goals. Setting up external incentives or deadlines can help overcome procrastination and improve self-control. Chapter 7: The High Price of Ownership. This chapter explores the endowment effect, which is the tendency for people to overvalue things simply because they own them. This leads people to make irrational decisions, such as refusing to sell a possession for a price that's clearly above its market value. Key takeaways: ownership increases the perceived value of an item. This bias can prevent people from making rational financial decisions, as they may hold onto items for emotional reasons rather than logical ones. Chapter 8: Keeping Doors Open. Ariely investigates why people are reluctant to close doors or eliminate options, even when continuing to keep options open costs them time, effort, or money. The desire to maintain flexibility often leads people to make irrational choices. Key takeaways: people tend to keep options open, even when doing so isn't beneficial. the fear of making a commitment can lead to indecision and wasted resources. Chapter 9, The Effect of Expectations. This chapter focuses on how expectations shape our perceptions. If we expect something to be of high quality, we are more likely to perceive it as such, regardless of its actual qualities. Expectations can influence how we experience products, services, and even relationships. Key takeaways: our expectations heavily influence our experiences. Understanding the power of expectations can help us make better, more realistic decisions and avoid the disappointment that comes from mismatched expectations. Chapter 10, The Power of Price. Ariely explores how the price of an item influences its perceived value. People tend to believe that higher-priced items are better, even when there's no objective reason for this belief. The placebo effect can also be powerful in the context of price. Higher prices can lead to better performance or experiences simply because people believe the product is more effective. Key takeaways: price often determines perceived quality, even when there's no real correlation. This effect can be used both positively in marketing and negatively in consumer overestimation. Chapter 11, The Context of Our Decisions. In this chapter, Ariely discusses how the context in which we make decisions profoundly influences the choices we make. Factors such as the presence of others, environmental cues, and even irrelevant details can all shape our decisions in ways that we don't consciously notice. Key takeaways: our decisions are influenced by the context in which they are made, often in ways we don't fully understand. Being aware of these contextual influences can help us make more informed and rational decisions. Conclusion. In Predictably Irrational, Dan Ariely emphasizes that human decision-making is far more complex and flawed than traditional economics assumes. By understanding the hidden psychological forces that shape our choices, we can make better decisions in both our personal and professional lives. Recognizing and accounting for these irrational behaviors, especially in areas like pricing, consumer behavior, and interpersonal relationships, can help individuals and organizations make smarter, more effective choices. Final takeaway: the study of irrationality can lead to more effective decision-making strategies and a better understanding of human behavior.